Hello, friends. I'm Herbert Siguenza. I'm San Diego Rep's Playwright-in-Residence. I want to acknowledge that I am talking to you from Point Loma, which is Kumeyaay land, which extends on both sides of the border. I want to thank you for joining me on this 4-part video series called In the Wings. Here at San Diego Rep, we feel it's very important to nurture and develop new work for a new America. Now, In the Wings, I will interview the curators and producers of 4 distinct new play development projects we have going here at San Diego Rep, which are very, very exciting. So let's do it. Today we talk to Associate Artistic Director and Latinx Projects Producer Patrice Amon about the Latinx New Play Festival. Hi, Patrice. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Herbert. Happy to be here with you.
You know, Patrice, you've brought a lot of energy to the rep, and I understand you just got promoted. What are you now?
I did. I am now one of the associate artistic directors.
Yay, yay. Well, that's great. That's what the rep's been really working hard about this year, you know, have more equity, more equality in the organization. And so I'm thrilled. Just a little background for everybody. I founded Amigos Rep in 2014, and the whole purpose was to find Latino actors that wanted to work out, you know, because there was a lot of Latino actors that weren't getting work here in San Diego area. And I just wanted to get together with them and do readings. And for a couple of years, we did readings bi-monthly, we did readings of Latino plays. And, you know, some of the plays made it to the main stage after Sam and the staff saw them. And so that was real successful. But then when you came in, the San Diego Rep took it over as one of their programming. And then you came on and officially became the executive producer of Amigos the Rep. And you started the festival, which has just blown up. So when did the festival start again?
The festival's first year began in 2016. And I think
how many submissions did you get back then?
Our first year we had 60-ish.
And now in its 3rd year, you sought out for more submissions. And how many have you gotten so far this year?
This year, we're going into our 5th season and we have 99 submissions.
Wow. Well, I better submit one. That way you make a cool 100.
Yeah.
Actually, I did submit one. No, well, that's just fantastic how, you know, pre-COVID, you were having these great festivals, weekend festivals, where you would showcase, 3 or 4 readings?
Yeah, we do 4 new play readings and 1 spotlight show. And then we have
spotlight show.
a whole host of ancillary events surrounding that are like panels and things like that to help really go deep in the material.
Yeah, no, this really caught on. The Amigos Festival has really caught on, and it's become now a national festival, I would imagine, because now you're getting submissions from all over, even by very well-known writers, and so it's just been great. But as you know, the pandemic shut everything down in 2020, and so you had to move the festival online in 2020. How did that go?
Moving the festival online was an incredible challenge, but as well presented some really cool opportunities that we just didn't anticipate going into it. We were so committed to being in person and really very optimistic in the early planning phases of the festival. And so we delayed as long as we could, held off as long as possible to be able to be in person. Once it became just really clear that we weren't going to be in person in September 2020, we had about 2 months to really hustle and figure out our online platforming. We found some really cool resources that sort of gave us that sense of community, gave us a sense of interaction that is so like essential to our festival. It's really like a bench or like an identifiable part of our festival is that sense of community, the love of space, the vibrancy of the conversations, the vibrancy of the decorations. Clearly, I'm a fan of a lot of colors.
Well, one thing I noticed, which I didn't feel prior to that, I felt our festival was a very successful local festival, or California, you might say, Southern California. But when you went online last year, I felt it became a national festival, right? Because people could see could see the readings from the comfort of their home in New York or in Colombia,
Yeah,
right?
that was like one of the unanticipated benefits of moving online. Culturally specific work is often brings in a niche audience, and in San Diego, that niche is somewhat
Small. It's
limited.
somewhat small
Yeah,
here, yeah.
yeah, it's not universal, and so our small local festival brings in the people within the community, and maybe we can reach out to LA. We might get as far as San Francisco, but that's sort of it. When we went online this year, we had artistic teams based out of Chicago. We had artistic people joining us from New York, from the Pacific Northwest. My playwright was in the Northeast, and everybody was able to work collaboratively on these different projects. And
Right. The word gets out because you even had actors from other cities, right? So it wasn't like you were using local actors that we usually do because of resources. Now you're able to expand and hire just about anybody.
yeah, we really prioritize our local actors first. And then
Yes.
where we can't meet that need locally, then we expand out. So with Sapiens in our festival last year, it calls for an actress, a Latina actress, sort of in her 40s, who is also on the spectrum. And so we wanted a neurodiverse Latina in her 40s. And that is like whew, a very narrow pool to be selecting for. And we didn't have it in San Diego. We didn't have that person. And we really wanted to cast authentically. But because we were online, our doors opened up so much wider and we had a deep pool to select from. It was really exciting.
How does our festival and other Latinx festivals, how do they contribute to the national theater?
Yeah, so we noticed trends. So our festival, we are looking for pieces that are going to work well at San Diego Rep. But in doing that, we get to be a part of the national conversation. We get to be a part of seeing the different trends that are happening across the place. A few years ago, a very large number of submissions were focused on immigration, and that seemed to be right at the presence of what people were talking about and what people are thinking about. I'm really excited to see what people are going to be writing about coming out of this pandemic. What has this time of
Right.
isolation, and how are those themes going to be reflected in the writing that we're going to be seeing?
In the beginning, when you started the festival, you were very adamant about that you wanted to see plays that celebrated Latinidad, right? Specific Latinidad. Has that changed over the years? What is a Latinx play?
Oh, that's a great question. Latinidad and Latinx and the terminology is an ever shifting
Yes.
target. It is fluid and it changes. Um, for us, San Diego Rep has a long history of telling stories about the border and Latinidad around border regions. And that's a very specific segment of Latinidad. Latinidad is this big umbrella that covers so many different types of people, so many different communities, regions, nationalities, racial identifications. There's so much variety there. And so with our festival, it's really important that we tell stories beyond the border Latino. We tell stories beyond our victimization. We tell stories beyond our objectification. We want to tell a wide breadth of stories because that's a more accurate reflection of our community. We are educated. We are in the process of becoming education. We are laborers. We are parents and family members. We have so much depth. We come from so many different places in
Yes.
the world. It's important to tell all of those stories.
And we are Black.
Oh yes.
And you've always been, yeah, you've always been great about that, showcasing the Black Latino experience. And, you know, especially now after last summer, I think it's very, very important to show that point of view.
Afro Latinx communities are a big part of the Latinx communities. And it's important to have those narratives within our stories. Our community is impacted and affected by white supremacist thinking just as much as any other community. We're all enmeshed in this system. So it's important to, again, find space for Black voices.
So you get 100 submissions, okay? So how do you start? How do you break it down? First of all, do you have a committee of readers that help you?
Yeah, we do. This year we have a big committee. We have 80, I think 82 readers this year.
Oh, wow. They
Yeah,
can read one each or two each and you're done.
so we were so abundantly blessed this year with our readers. Typically, we're looking at a reading committee around 30 people, but this
Right.
year, I think a lot of people had a lot of free time. And so we had to have
So what are you looking for? Like what makes a Latinx play? What will make it, what are you looking for your festival?
yeah, so the barriers to entry are very low. So that has to be a full length play. It has to have 8 or less characters, resources, there's limitations.
Uh-huh.
It needs to be 8 or less, non-musical, again, resources, limitations, and it needs to
Mm.
be written primarily in English, or if it's written in a secondary language, to have translations so that we can have
Right.
readers give a very thorough response to it. We're looking for plays that are written by self-identifying Latinx playwrights. And then from there, the gates are wide open. I want to find a play that connects emotionally with the audience, that tells maybe a unique story, sort of in line with the San Diego Reps mission of telling engaging and curious new stories. In the future, it would be great to be able to include musicals. I think it would also be really incredible to see a production come out of the festival, if there could be dedicated sponsor out there somewhere who wants to help with that, to move
Yes.
from the festival into the San Diego Rep season. I would love to see a publication. The thing about me, I'm also a scholar. And so I think being able to record the work that we're doing in a published form would be super essential to, again, the future history of this festival.
Yes, I think it's very important to publish as well, to leave the history, a legacy, so people can study in the future. The Encuentro, remember the Encuentro festivals were published, and one is coming out, right? The Encuentro de las Americas is coming out soon.
Yeah. So they have 2 books coming out, and the first was from the US and then from the Americas.
Right.
And I'm excited to see where the next ones come.
Last question, how is the rep striving towards greater equality, diversity, and inclusion through the initiatives of the Latinx New Play Festival?
Yeah, so with the festival, it's really about fostering new playwrights and giving the space for those new plays to work with artists to continue to grow and develop so that they can get production. Getting a play from the idea of the playwright onto the stage is such a long and arduous and unclear process. Our playwrights within our community that maybe don't have MFAs or don't have that very clear path from their training to a relationship with a theater, we are serving that purpose to build those relationships, build those networks, get to know these playwrights and their voices and their styles, so that if a play maybe doesn't work for us, we can recommend to other theaters, connect playwrights with directors who might be interested in the stylistic choices the playwright is making, and really see the furtherment of the field.
Well, I really appreciate all the work you've done, how you've taken a little exercise that I developed in 2014, and now it's become a festival. I'm just so proud that I planted a seed and you guys took it to a whole new level. One last question, I think more a provocative question, Patrice. We're 15 minutes away from the Spanish-speaking world, Mexico. Why is it that we don't have a semi-professional, professional Latinx theater here in San Diego?
That's a great question, Herbert. I ask myself that all the time. It's one of the inspirations behind why we founded Tuyo. I'm so grateful for the history of the rep. Like, my first Latinx play was at the rep when I was a high school student, and I went with my mecha. But there's something sort of unique when a play can be produced from the community for the community.
We're all grateful for the rep and its legacy, but I think it's getting to the point where we need to see a theater that is, that looks like us, sounds like us, and does our work. Yeah, you're right.
And I think some of the projects within San Diego Reps EDI initiatives and our strategic plan are really going to address that. And in the future, when we get to be in person again and we get to have the potential to host organizations at our theater, there could be a lot of space there for a professional Latinx theater to grow and thrive. Check out Tuyo, see our work.
Well, heard it here, folks. Tuyo, the Latinx New Play Festival at San Diego Rep.
So our festival is held on Labor Day at the end of summer each year. So we're looking at September 3rd through 5th, 2021. 4 new plays.
You heard it here, folks.
Road show. It's going to be fun.
You heard it here, Patrice. Thank you so much. And we'll see you in the halls of the San Diego Rep.
See you soon, Herbert.
With our mask on.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. I hope you enjoyed this interview on In the Wings. Join us next time where you'll hear another exciting project that San Diego Rep is cooking up. Meanwhile, stay safe.